classes. I'm instructor Dwayne Jenkins. In today's video lesson, we're going to talk about one of the hardest things there is to play on guitar, as far as rhythm goes, is the infamous bar chords. We're going to look at some tips on how to play them, make them easier to play. Let's check it out.
Audio Jungle.
And one of the hardest things to play on the guitar, especially playing rhythm, is your bar chords. And the reason why is because you have to take this index finger and bar it across all 6 strings, okay? And it can be really hard to do this, okay? It takes a while to develop. You gotta develop your muscles, and this can be a very hard chord to play, okay? So I'm gonna give you some tips today about how you can do it quicker, learn how to do it easier, okay? Tip number 1, I would recommend getting down the bar itself, okay? Now what your index finger is really doing, it's acting as the nut, and you're just moving it up and down the fretboard, okay? And it allows you to take your natural chords, like your E here for instance, and move it up the fretboard. Now if you were to play just the chord itself up the fretboard without the bar, it wouldn't sound right. So you can tell some of those notes don't sound good, okay? Because it's playing some notes in there that don't sound good. But if you add the bar to it, then it sounds good, okay? So basically you're taking the nut, you're using your index finger as the nut, and you're bringing it down and moving it, which allows you to take this chord and move it up and down the fretboard, okay? So one thing you want to do is get used to playing this chord with these 3 fingers, if at all possible, because you're going to have to use this one for the bar, okay? Like this, all right? This is what you want to eventually do, okay? So the first step is, what I would recommend you do is get used to the bar, okay? What I did a long time ago is I took my index finger and I would just use it to press against the strings, maybe use your second finger on top of it and your thumb in the back, and just get used to creating the bar itself, by itself, okay? And just move that up and down the fretboard, okay? Move that up and down the fretboard like this. Get used to that, okay? That's going to take some time, but just get used to that first. So that'd be step 1, okay? Step 2, get used to stretching out your fingers, okay? Now, a chord that you can play that's kind of like a prerequisite for a bar chord is a power chord, or a rock chord, whatever you want to call it. There's a couple different names for it. I just call it power chord. And it's basically 2 strings on 2 frets with the fret in between, okay? So you're just on two strings, so let's just say right here on the 6th and 5th string, we're just playing those 2 right there, okay? And what that does is it allows you to get used to stretching your fingers out, okay? And then you just play these 2 top strings, the 6th and the 5th. Now these 2 fingers here are off, and these 2 are on, okay? So you get used to that. That would be step 2. And once again, just move it up and down the fretboard like this, okay? This is a great chord to learn anyway, just for learning like rock songs, okay? If you learn this type of chord here, you can play all kinds of cool rock songs. That's just an example, okay? So once you get that down, and this does take some time, then you can add your other fingers in there. You can add your pinky, which is going to be right underneath the 3rd string, on the 4th string, underneath your 3rd finger, your ring finger. So you have now, let's say we're playing a bar chord on our 3rd fret. This would be a G major bar chord right here, root 6, because that's our G note. And so then we add our other 2 fingers, our pinky underneath the ring finger here on the 4th string, and we would add our middle finger on the 3rd string on the 4th fret. Okay, now we're using all 4 fingers and getting that bar. You got to get that bar down. That's the hardest thing though. Once you get that down, then you're set. Then what you do is you got to get used to moving the whole thing. So what I would do is just move it up and down the fretboard like this, from fret to fret. Just pick up your fingers off the strings. Keep them on the strings, but try to lift them just off the fretboard, and then move them. Move them up and down the fretboard. Now this does take time. It took me a long time to get it down myself when I was younger and everything, just learning out. But this is a good way of just doing it. Just doing it, take it easy. Don't try to do it all at once, because if you try to do it all at once, your hand's going to cramp up and you're going to hate it, and you're going to be like, I can't do bar chords. But if you use these simple techniques and just do it one little part at a time, you'll be able to form it a lot easier. Your hands won't crump up as much, and you'll be able to get the bar chord down better. Okay, so once again, form the bar first. Get used to that, forming that bar, okay? And step number 2, get your fingers to stretch out like this, okay? Because you're gonna have to do that to form that chord. And then eventually, once you get that down, step 3, lay your other 2 fingers down, okay? And what's great about this chord shape is that you can change chords without having to change the shape. Like for instance, this is a G, this is an A, this is a C. Now if you're going to play those in natural chords, you know, G, A, C. Now you can tell you're going to change your finger positioning. What's great about bar chords and these power chords is the fact that you can play those chords without changing the shape of your hand. You just got to change the fret that you're playing it on. So you want to just get used to forming the chord and then moving it up and down the fretboard, okay? And then to play like a minor, you just lift this finger off. There's a minor, root 6, that's root 6 G minor, root 6 A minor bar chord, root 6 B minor bar chord, root 6 C minor bar chord, okay? So follow these tips, and if you do these, this will really help you out a lot, okay? Alright, so there you have it, 3 tips to really help you learn your bar chords. First of all, get the bar down. Number 2, get the power chord down by stretching out your fingers, just playing on 2 fingers, 2 strings. Move that up and down the fretboard, get used to that. And then number 3, put your other 2 fingers down to form the full bar chord, okay? And just move it. It's gonna take you some time. It's not gonna happen overnight, but if you work on it, and you just work on it a little bit at a time, do those 3 steps, and I guarantee you'll be able to get that bar chord down a lot faster, a lot easier, and you'll be able to have some fun playing the guitar. Alright, so thanks so much for watching, appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down, no problem. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I appreciate that. If there's some other thing that you might have thought that I might not have thought about, feel free to leave those in the comments below as well, so other people can see that and they can get some learning out of that as well, okay? And be sure to hit the bell to notify of future videos. Be sure to check out my website and check out the links below, because I always leave links below to help you out with your training. I've got some free training guide on practice habits and memorizing the fretboard, things like that. Be sure to check out my website at dwaynesguitarlessons.com. And until our next lesson, you take care.